to Move Her Forward podcast and TV series. This is the place where you could, yes, learn, listen, and level up. And I'm so excited about this particular episode. We are going all the way to Ghana, Africa. So proud to be able to segue into this country and be able to bring some amazing speakers. Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Nicholas Solomon, managing a whopping 60 million portfolio at Thales and helping people around the world invest wisely. Nicholas knows the ins and outs of projects and real estate management. His journey has taken him from managing big operations in West and Central Africa to handling important equipment at Kotoka Airport. And now he's here to share his knowledge with us. He is a manager, but he's also a writer for GhanaWeb.com and a co-founder of Camsol Trustee, a company making land ownership easier for young Africans. Nicholas believes that good planning and management are keys to unlocking our goals. So I'm so excited to dive into his rich insights together with us. Again, welcome, Nicholas. I'm so excited to have you a part of this episode.
Thank you so much, Edwina. It's so good to be here, and I'm really happy to be on this podcast because I know what this podcast is doing for a lot of Black entrepreneurs, especially women. And so, for me to be here as a guy to be part of this conversation and to shape the narrative for Black entrepreneurs is really something that I'm looking forward to, and I'm so blessed to be here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm just looking forward to this conversation because I know you're going to be dropping a lot of gems for us. And we believe that this is a collaborative effort. So I'm having male speaker and guests a part of this initiative to really move women forward. It just makes a lot of sense. So let's jump right in.
I actually learned so much from your interview with 19 Keys.
Oh, awesome.
That interview was great,
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was such a blessing to our podcast. And he's always dropping gems. And literally, that's what our podcast is known for, is like everything that we do. We try to take the fluff out of our conversation and just really focus on bringing value. So with that being said, we're about to jump into strategies. And for those that have been listening to my podcast for a while now's a great time to grab a pen and paper because Nicholas is about to drop some gems.
Super.
So let's get started. So to kick things off, how have you found that your project management skills have not just been vital in your professional endeavors, but also in organizing and managing your personal life, especially considering the unique challenges and opportunities that come with being a Black entrepreneur?
Well, I think that project management generally isn't something that is part of our everyday vocabulary. We see or hear it most often in the business world or in the corporate world or related to things that has to do with construction or other things that are not really part of our daily lives. But really, if you look at it, what we do every day is project management. The fact that we are able to wake up in the morning, plan our lives, plan our goals, plan our ambitions, and all that is project management. However, project management is something that helps you to clarify those goals, helps you to clarify those ambitions. It helps you to know what to do at what point in that, as you pursue that goal, as you pursue that ambition. It also helps you to be more confident because the more you know where you are going from today, what you do tomorrow, what you do the next week, the next month, the next year to achieve those goals or those ambitions, it makes you more confident. The more you wake up in the morning and say that, look, today I have a meeting with that, tomorrow I'm going to do this, tomorrow I'm going to do that. It helps you to be able to put yourself together, and it builds your emotional and your emotional ability and also the confidence that you have towards working on your goals. So for me, project management is basically being able to manage processes and tasks. And the way that happens is that we do this by resource allocation, by budgeting, by stakeholder management. Look, every day of our lives, we are managing relationships with our families, with our spouses. We are managing relationships with our bosses, with our partners in business and all of that. And for us as Black entrepreneurs, these are things that we need to leverage on to be able to achieve success and to be able to be more competitive in the world of business. For me, it has really helped me in my life because I started off at a very young age, actually. I realized that I wasn't a routine person. I wasn't someone that was more interested in being at one place. And so very early on in life, I figured out that project management was something that I wanted to pursue. And so I gave myself to it. I had to sharpen my skills in that area. And Edwina, that brings me to, let me just reverse it a bit. In life isn't coincidental. Okay, life in itself, there's a grand scheme, there's a grand agenda to achieve a bigger picture for this world. Now, those that were here before, and those that are here now, and those that are yet to come, there's a purpose for which everyone comes onto this earth, to fulfill a particular purpose, to contribute to that grand scheme by fulfilling a destiny. Okay, and so everybody that comes on here has certain gifts and talents that helps them to live a purposeful life, to fulfill that destiny that they have. And what I've realized with especially most blacks is that we are not able to build that bridge between the talents and gifts that we have to have a sense of purpose to fulfill that destiny. I meet a lot of people, a lot of young people that come to me and say that, look, I don't know what I'm here doing. I don't know why I'm on this earth. But sometimes I think that the answer is with us. The fact that every day in our lives we see things that we are passionate about, we see things that gives us energy, we see things that we believe that gives us life. For me, if we are able to focus on those small things we see in life and we decide to build that into a sense of purpose, that is the only way we can be able to use those tools to sharpen our skills, to live a purpose and to fulfill a destiny. Luckily for me, I found that very early in my life, and so I've been pursuing project management for a very long time. And it is evident in the things that I've been successful in. It is evident in the way that I've pursued my goals and my ambitions in life. And today, I am here.
I love that. You dropped a lot of gems. Like, that's something that I always speak about, which I
Yeah,
will echo, is like you really have to look at your life like a business, right? And
yeah,
project management is an aspect of business as well.
yeah,
And you can't just be on autopilot, making decisions on autopilot. I
mm,
believe that everything has to be structured, right?
mm,
And I love
mm,
that you spoke about finding this earlier on in life,
yeah,
because it's so important. Like some of us have these big dreams, these big goals, and we don't really realize that the only way to accomplish them is by setting these particular project management methodologies that you just
exactly.
spoke about. So I just love it. Like you're just dropping a lot of gems for us
Yeah,
already in our
yeah,
conversation. So I wanted to look at really community and network building, because this is
yeah,
so key when being an entrepreneur, and just like also working on projects, right?
yeah,
Building a supportive networking community is so crucial in
yeah,
entrepreneurship.
yeah,
How have you really leveraged your project management expertise to really foster community building and network development, especially within Ghana, right?
yeah,
And the business environment and the fellow Black entrepreneurs that you work with?
yeah, yeah. I've always said that people don't buy products or services; they buy value, and people will always invest in value. All right. In Ghana, in the part that I come from, apart from multinational companies, nobody really values project management. Okay. So you can have all your training and have all your certifications, but really it doesn't matter to anyone, because the majority of the people would like to do things by themselves, and they would like to use their own skill set to, and also because we don't have a lot of standards around there. And so the city council or nobody's is going to come to you and say that, look, you're supposed to use this professional or that professional to, let's say, construct that building or to do this project or whatever it is. But then again, in our small community, I am so much for community building and community engagement and all of that, because I believe that we are the ones that can help ourselves. If you've been following the news out of Africa and Ghana, you realize that the government is is not in touch with the people, and so it becomes very difficult for you to rely on government policies or on government intervention. So as young people, as entrepreneurs in that part of the world, we leverage a lot on our skill sets, and we leverage a lot on sharing things that will help each other. For instance, I personally have a good amount of discount for people that are in my community that would want to pursue or use my services to achieve some of the things that they're doing. I have a lot of people in the diaspora that are having real estate projects back in Ghana. And for them, because they do not know people, a lot of people out there, they sometimes fall on people like myself to help them to deliver those projects. And I always make sure that if someone is out there abroad and is ready to come and invest back home, we need to support them and give them all the support that we want. Not just building their homes, but people that come in to start businesses. Recently, I have a friend who has opened a very big bakery in Ghana. The guy is actually from Canada. All right. And he needed a project manager to ensure, because he's not there in person, he needed somebody who will help guide that process. And I was there, and imagine I was quoting all sort of figures, professional fees that would have scared him away. But because we are there to help, they are always willing to come back home to invest in the Ghanaian economy. And so I'm very open. I use that. I always speak to my friends out there that, look, come to Ghana. If it's something you want to come and invest in here, we are there. We are the professionals, and we are ready and always willing to put in the effort, to put in the work for you at reduced fees, so that you are not also burdened financially, because you want to invest back home, you want to create jobs for people, you want to give equal opportunities to people out there on the continent. And so we are there to also help. And that is what I use my skill set, that's what I use my professional life to do out there, to make sure that we are helping Black entrepreneurs, not just people in the diaspora, but people even in Ghana that have a vision to start something to help the economy and to help the nation at large.
Absolutely. Like, I'm just getting goosebumps here, like listening to you, because I feel like I need to start investing in Ghana.
No, you
Absolutely.
should. You should.
Yeah, no, I know. It's
Yeah.
definitely coming for sure, and there's a lot of projects that is
Yeah.
happening next year. So I'm just really excited about the
Wow.
collaboration here
Wow.
today. So I wanted to look at something that, especially with Black entrepreneurs and just
Mm.
business owners, overcoming stereotypes, right?
Yeah.
Navigating through stereotypes and especially biases is such a big reality. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
where you are in the world.
Yeah.
We deal with this, quite a bit.
Yeah.
From your experiences, especially with managing a $60 million, real estate
Yeah.
portfolio and just being in project management, what are some key things and tools and strategies that you've really allowed yourself to be equipped with to really go against and counteract these challenges? So
Yeah.
what,
Yeah.
and also what advice would you give to others
Yeah.
facing these same issues?
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I've always said is that expert power always wins. Okay. Expert power always wins. And like I said, people would always invest in value. One thing out there in Ghana and most part of Africa is the inferiority complex that is associated with people of color. Ghanaian business owners and most people that would set up big corporations in Ghana would rather go and hire someone from North America or someone from other parts of the world just because they are white to run those businesses. Okay. And this gives and in fact, not just to run the businesses, they would pay someone out there so much money, but a Ghanaian or an African who is on the continent, who lives on the continent, understands the ecosystem of that business, will not be paid as much as the person that has been poached from abroad. However, I believe that if you are able to deliver with experts' power, if you're able to deliver value to a business, then you are communicating that to your employer or to your business environment that, look, whatever anybody is coming from abroad to come and do, you can do that and do that more because you understand that environment. And also, like I said, as project managers, we are very big on stakeholder management. It is always said that if you speak to someone in a foreign language, they might hear you. But if you speak to them in a language that they understand and they speak, you speak to their hearts, okay? And so the power that we have there on the continent is the fact that we understand the ecosystem, we understand the language, we are able to communicate exactly what people want. Recently, I was working on a project. In fact, there's someone who is trying to build the biggest cassava processing factory in West Africa, and this is in Ghana. Okay, and I don't know if you know about it, but cassava is called a black gold. Okay, and we have a lot of that in Ghana, but it's not put to use. And this project, this guy wanted to bring project managers from somewhere in Netherlands. Okay, And they came in, they went to the farm, they went to the site that has been proposed for the project. And because they were not from that part of town, they received some level of pushback from the community people. All right. Then later on, after he spent so much money, someone recommended me. I went in there, and he could see that the project was moving at a pace that he had wished he had contacted me early on to work on that project. So I always believe that if the only way that as Black entrepreneurs, that as Africans, we can be able to overcome some of these stereotypes and the biases and the prejudice is to be able to deliver what you say you deliver, is to be able to deliver value, is to be able to compete with anybody else coming from anywhere. And that can only be done when you plan your life properly, when you are able to learn, put yourself to work, apply. Now, knowledge is in abundance. The internet has democratized information, and you can access information from everywhere in the world. And so I say that if you live in Ghana, even if you haven't traveled before, if you live in any part of the continent, you haven't traveled before, there's no excuse not to deliver value like anybody else in let's say America, Canada, or anywhere in the world. You have the same skills, you have the same information to be able to use that to turn things around on the continent. And so for me, the way we can only overcome stereotypes, prejudice, biases is to offer value, just like anybody else will do outside the continent.
Yeah, that's so important. And, something that we were talking about earlier is like the being afraid to just like tell people what we're doing and talk
Yeah,
about the type of skills that we have.
yeah,
But you really spoke about something is just like not being afraid to
yeah,
collaborate with other people and to
yeah,
network.
yeah,
And then to really shatter, these stereotypes is just to really, like you said, offer value. And it's
yeah.
offering value at top tier. And I always talk about this too, is like, since we're up against so much different things,
Mm,
is when you're presenting yourself, when you're presenting a business or even a
mm,
business idea or even
mm.
pitching yourself to work on another team, you really have to come like next level, like top
Yeah,
tier.
yeah.
In order to be treated with respect, you also have to respect yourself too, right? And make sure that
Right.
whatever you're doing, presentation is the key. Like you talked about project management skills, all
Yeah,
those things come together to really bring a next level approach to business and how you're presenting yourself to
right.
opportunities. That leads me to something where, especially with Black entrepreneurs, it's usually
Mm,
just like one person usually working in the business.
mm.
And I find that sometimes it's really tough for Black entrepreneurs to be in a space of building out their team.
Yeah,
And, when we look at businesses and how they scale, they're usually building out a team to really scale. So
yeah,
building a team, that's not only looking at the skills, but looking at making it diverse and inclusive is so
right.
important. Through being a project management and your skills, how do you look at crafting out and leading a team that's inclusive and really aligned with those project
Yeah,
objectives that you have to really
yeah,
manage?
yeah. Interestingly, at Thales, majority of in fact, I think about 95% of my team are Gen Zs. And so, me being the oldest person in that setup, and the generational gap could be challenging for a lot of people, But one of the things that has helped me to manage that is, then again, I go back to project management, because stakeholder engagement is very important. And the way that you treat your staff, not just as a boss, but as a leader, to be the cheerleader, to be the influence, to be someone that they look up to, is very important. I've realized with Gen Zs that they like to be carried along. They like to have a sense of belonging in what they do. And when they are associated to a company, they like to be informed. Unlike the millennials and the generations before that, where most of them sort of work like a robot. So they receive instructions, they deliver. A Gen Z will receive an instruction, and they will come back to you and ask why I should do A, B, C. And you need to explain. And so for me, one of the strategies that I've used to be able to overcome that is to have an understanding of everyone in my team. okay, and get to know what their motivation is, get to know what drives them, and get to know how they perceive information and give out of information. And in doing that, I've been able to build a strong team. Recently, it's not too popular, but recently my team and I work from a coffee shop. Okay, I took everybody to the coffee shop. We started a coffee shop. We worked from there from 9 a.m. to about 4 p.m. when we left. And that was rejuvenating for us. And in that meeting, and this was when I had just taken over the role as the general manager for that company. In that meeting, we were able to develop a new vision for the company. We were able to develop a goals, short-term, medium, and long-term goals to achieve that vision for the company. And so for me, one of the ways I think that we can build teams and have the right people to work with is understanding the people. People have various backgrounds and where they are coming from. People are dealing with so many issues, especially this time that we have a lot of ambition crisis. People want to achieve things that sometimes they are even not achievable in some sense. Okay, they don't like to structure their goals and ambitions in a way that they can achieve them. And so people are, I don't know if you've heard recently, happiness generally in the world is actually coming down because people are overwhelmed with so many things. And so if you lead people and you're managing a team and you're not aware of some of these things, you might end up burning your team members. You might end up not getting the best out of them to achieve the company's goals and visions. And so for me, I think that first of all, you need to understand people's backgrounds and people that you are coming on with, understand where they're coming from, their peculiar situations, and also how do you communicate to them, the way, the communication strategies that you use to speak to them. Some of them, you may not have to speak to them in public. You may not have to speak to them amongst all the team. You need to take them away and engage them. And that is something we learn in project management a lot. We call it servant leadership. Okay, you engage people, listen to both sides of the conversation before you come into the room to have discussions and make decisions on particular things. And so that is what I've used over time to build a very strong and formidable team. And trust me, my team will move walls for me. They will do, yeah, they work like they own the business. Okay, and I think that is what Black entrepreneurs need to do. We don't need to hire people with certain prejudice. We don't need to hire people with our own perspective of them. Let's allow them. Let's listen to them. And for me, in this generation, I don't see people used as working tools, which is what has been done in the past. People should not be hired as tools. People should be hired as partners. People should be hired as vision carriers. We should bring people on and explain the vision to them, let them run with the vision. And when you do that, you even tend to relax as the leader or as the manager of that business, and things move so smoothly. Yes, of course, there are challenges, but that is where risk management come into place. And so I'm sure we'll talk about that more
Yeah,
in
no,
the
oh my gosh.
conversation.
Yeah, that's the amazing advice, right? Is the
Yeah.
one of the biggest things that I just grabbed what you said is like when you're hiring on and building your team, just allow them to run with it and don't have any preconceived notations
Yeah.
on them, right? Because
Yeah.
that's also a stereotype in its own. And I wanted to kind of dig a little bit deeper in this comment that you made
Mm.
that you build out a team and then the team started working as if it was their own business.
Yeah.
How do you get someone to really buy into your vision and to want to work with you on that level where they
Yeah.
feel like it's their business as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah. You know what I did? In that meeting we had at the coffee shop, we designed the vision together. All right. So I told them, I mean, we all know what we do in facilities, project management, property management. And I sat everybody down at the table and said, look, where do you want this company to be in future? All right. And so I gave pieces of papers to everybody on the table, and we all wrote something down. Now we had someone read that vision, whatever everyone had written down. We read that out aloud to everybody. And we now started drilling it down to something that will resonate to the ideas that everyone had. And we came up with a very good vision. We came up with a very good mantra for the company, which says that partnership for life. Because what we do is that when you buy a property with us from our developer, it comes to us, we do the property management and facility management. And we know that these things are like a long-term partnership. And so because they were part of the vision board, they were part of generating that vision. They tend to own it. Hitherto, they didn't even know what the company was working towards, and that is something you find around a lot. There are a lot of companies where you can go into the company and ask any staff in the company what the vision of the company is, and they don't know about it. They don't even know what the mission is. All they know is the work that they do every day from 8 to 5, and that's it. But to be able to build a formidable organization, a company that will outlast generations, that vision must be the subject matter of all conversations. And that is what we did at Talis. I made sure that because they were part of generating that vision, it's something that they carried along. And we had short, medium, long term goals to achieve that vision. And so every time when we meet, we normally have meetings on Tuesdays. When we meet, we reiterate that vision. We ask ourselves. In fact, some of my team members meet themselves around the office and they ask them what the vision is. And they will tell you what the vision is. And they will ask you, what have you done this week to achieve that vision? And if you haven't done anything, you also will be found wanting. And so every day, every time, people are looking at how best they can achieve that vision, the innovative ideas they can come on board with to achieve that vision. And that is how we do it. And one of the key things that I do is that I try as much as possible to engage every team member. In fact, those at the management level, on every direction that the company wants to go, every direction that I think the company should go. I run it by them to see if, because sometimes as a leader, you might go on a certain trajectory that may not be aligning with the vision. And so you need these people. Some may be pessimists, some may be optimistic, but you need all those energies to be able to align correctly. So that is what I do, because I build the vision with them, and because the vision is in their hearts, is on their minds, and because they themselves have a sense of duty to make sure that we achieve that vision. They all carry along, they all come along, and we have a beautiful work environment.
Something that just stuck out originally when you started speaking is you got the whole team involved with
Yeah,
creating the vision. And sometimes you may know the vision as a CEO,
yeah,
but the tipping point comes in when you start to bring everyone around the table
yeah,
and making sure that they feel validated and
yeah,
heard. I think
yeah,
that is just that's top
yeah,
tier when you
yeah,
can get your team to buy in.
yeah.
And it's better that way because you don't have to sell them on the vision because
Exactly,
they created the vision. They had a hand in creating that vision.
exactly,
So I honestly think that's such a game changer when you're looking at
exactly.
creating.
And that is not too traditional.
Mhm.
You would hardly find that around. But in this particular dispensation that we are in, and personally, I don't believe in a vision that should last for 50 years. For me, I
Right.
believe that vision should be revisited maybe after every 5 years.
Yeah,
And
that's
that is
true.
why for me, vision should be measurable. You should have indicators that you should know whether you're actually on track or not. And that's where project management comes in handy. Because right from the onset, there's a framework to monitor and evaluate that vision to be able to know whether you're on track or not. And to be able to know that the resources that you have in time can be utilized effectively and efficiently to achieve that vision. So
Yeah.
it's not too traditional, but for me, I would advise Black entrepreneurs and young people that if you're starting off something and you identify your team very early on, I think that you should put them together and draft the vision together. And that is how you get a lot of buy-in and for people to support what you're doing.
So
Okay.
thank you so much, Nicholas, for sharing those, those amazing gems because we're really leveling up here.
Yeah.
That's what the podcast is about. Is as soon as you listen, you're learning, and then that is allowing you to level up. So,
Yeah.
I wanted to shift gears here and really talk about Ghana
Yeah.
and the overview of Ghana's economy and just
Mm,
looking at a few different real estate market
yeah.
opportunities that's available. So the
Mm,
first thing I want to kickstart this off is the overview of Ghana's economy
yeah.
at the moment. If you can provide us with some insights.
Yeah. So, I mean, Ghana's economy currently is not doing too well. But before 2019, Ghana's economy was one of the fastest growing economies in the world. In fact, in 2019, the president of Ghana launched this project in the US called the Year of Return, which was significant to celebrate the 400th year since transatlantic slave ended. And so in 2019 December, we had a lot of people from movie actors, Hollywood stars, all of them trooping down to Ghana. And December was really great. In fact, tourism in Ghana boosted so much that we made about $3.5 billion in terms of foreign exchange. And so that was really great. And then COVID came in and everything started going south. And then the Russia-Ukraine war also affected a lot of, because Ghana is the next exporting country. In fact, we import almost everything that we consume in Ghana. And so for that, those are even business opportunities for many people out there, because very basic things like toothpick, we import them, you
Wow.
know. And so there's a lot of business opportunity in Ghana. Currently, the economy is not doing too well. Recently, the government had to restructure a lot of bonds. People that have lended to the government couldn't honor their part of the deal, and so these bonds were restructured. Some have even gone on to lose their capital, not just the interest, but also the capital. But for me, I'm more confident that the economy is going to turn around. And so currently, we have a lot of people diversifying their portfolio and focusing more on real estate. And real estate growth in Ghana has skyrocketed. People are investing, and also because, and that is meeting, so the supply of real estate currently is meeting the demand, because we have a lot of people coming into Ghana daily. In fact, I'm in Canada now, and I've had more than 50 people who want to visit Ghana this Christmas, people that have never been. And so there's a great demand also for the real estate market in there, and it is really doing well. The government is putting a lot of policies for housing, affordable housing, but currently the market tier that is really doing well is the upscale market, and these are places in Ghana that I would consider class A, somewhere like, let's say, downtown Toronto. In Ghana, a lot of people are putting a lot of real estate investment out there, and they are getting a lot of returns. In fact, Ghana's real estate market has one of the highest returns in the world. Returns per annum, apart from asset appreciation, is somewhere around 7-8%. And that is phenomenal, because in Canada, I know it's doing around 3-4%. And so Ghana is a very good place to invest in terms of real estate. And also, there are a lot of business opportunities. Like I'm saying, we are net importer country, sorry. And so there are a lot of business opportunities, things like manufacturing, okay, things like services, consultancy, insurance, law, all these things. There are a lot of opportunity in Ghana right now that, if people are ready and willing to invest, they are going to make very good returns out there. And so, yeah, that's just a snapshot of what we have. Yeah.
Awesome. I think you jumped into, the economy of Ghana, and then also the real estate market as well, like the
Yeah.
overview of the real estate market. And I know right now that you are managing $60 million
Yeah.
investment portfolio right now. What is like the foreign direct investment through your lens at this time?
Yeah. So currently, so 2019, we had one of the highest FDI, which was around $4.2 billion. But over the time, it has dropped a bit because of the financial market in Ghana, which is not doing too well. Okay. But the real sector is doing very well, especially if you invest in real estate or other forms of manufacturing. Currently, FDI has dropped to about $1.4 billion, which is a very significant drop, and that could be related to the economic issues that we are currently having now. But if you look at this $1.4 billion, and also if you add remittances that have come in from people living abroad to Ghana, majority of this money goes into real estate, because most people living abroad would want to have a home in Ghana. Okay, not just Ghanaians, but even people that see Ghana as their home, African Americans that see Ghana as a home for them. People have traced their route all the way back to Ghana, and they think that they want to have presence there. So a lot of remittance that comes in now goes into real estate, because for me, and currently, that is the only viable form of investment in the country. And so majority of this is going into real estate. Just a few of that goes into consumption, in terms of people that have family members out there that is send them money to live their lives. And also we've had the CD dollar depreciation, which in fact, as at last year, from August all the way to about December, the cedi was selling to the dollar at 15 Ghana cedi. So it's 15 is to 1 to the dollar. Now it's about 11 to 1 to the dollar, and so the management of the economy is getting better, and we hope that it will get better moving forward. But then again, I think that this is the right time for people to invest in real estate in Ghana, and not just real estate, but other forms of manufacturing, or to invest actually in the real sector. For the financial market is not doing too well, and the only option is real estate. And these are investments you can see.
I wanted to close off the episode with what we usually do with all of our guest speakers is we provide them with one question, which is, what is an actionable advice or tip right now, or a key strategy that you would recommend to our Black women, our Black entrepreneurs, our professionals in life and business to really elevate their journey of success right now?
Yeah. There's one thing that I always say, that whatever you can't measure, you can't manage. Okay, whatever you can't measure, you can't manage. And
Yes.
so for me, whatever it is that you're doing as an entrepreneur, whether you're starting a business, whether you are going to school, whether you are adding to your skills, you are sharpening your skills, make sure that you have a proper monitoring and evaluation framework in place. And what I mean by that is, if you are starting a business, make sure that you have it planned out. What do you intend to do the next month? What do you intend to do in 6 months? What do you intend to do the next year? That is the only way you can clarify your goal or your ambitions. That is the only way you can measure your progress. That is the only way you can allocate resources. That is the only way you can manage relationships that surround what you're doing. And so, for me, my advice to anybody out there, to Black entrepreneurs, to anybody out there, is that anything that you can't measure, you cannot manage. So, from the onset, make sure that you have the tools to measure progress in anything that you are doing. And it shouldn't be too cumbersome, or it shouldn't be too technical. Just write it. Just take a sheet of paper, all right, or on your laptop, whatever. Just open a very simple Excel sheet, a very simple table. Write it. This is what I want to achieve. In 1 year, this is how I want it to look like. These are the resources that I need to get to make that thing work. And this is where I want to get to in the next, let's say, 2 years. And this is what I expect to have in that 2 year framework. It shouldn't be too difficult. Okay. And so if you do that, you're able to always go back to that drawing board, or that sheet of paper, and assess how you've done across the period. And so for me, that is my tip for women out there, to level up and to say that you should be able to measure anything that you're doing. And so the tip is, whatever you can't measure, you can't manage.
Ooh, love it. What a way to
Yeah.
end our episode. Oh, wow. That's actually really important too. If you
Yeah.
can't measure it, right? It's like,
Yeah.
just like, and you said something that was so key that we kind of overlooked. Like, it doesn't have to be a long drafted out
No.
goal
Yeah.
or spreadsheet, but just open
Yeah.
something small and just
Yeah.
like put down some key points.
Yeah.
I wanted to thank you, Nicholas, so much for being a part of this movement that we're on. And
Yeah.
there is definitely going to be a link to where people can find you.
Right.
I know that you're launching a new product with
Yeah.
Camsol, and I know
Yeah.
that you're doing a lot of big things. So we're definitely going to share it in the bio after this episode.
Right.
But now is a great time to just keep leveling up, right? This is
Yeah.
just
Keep leveling
just
up.
it's keep leveling up. It's a great time to be
Yeah.
alive. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for our listeners for locking
Yeah.
in. Listen, learn, and yes, level up. Thanks again, Nicholas, for
Yeah.
sharing your time and dropping
Thank
all
you.
those beautiful gems. With that being said, thank you again. Take care.
Right.
Bye.